Hey everyone. So today I'm doing a fairly keto version of the recipe. This is a Japanese beef curry. The main substitutes will be I'll be replacing diced potato with zucchini, and then I will, that's about it. Yeah. So anyways, running through this, I have about 2.5 pounds of roast beef, bottom. I'm gonna grate up this apple. I got a can of tomato paste, 6 ounces. I have 1 pack of golden curry mix. This is basically just a seasoned curry flavored pre-made brew. I had some onions on hand. This is about 2 medium onions. And then I have some garlic on hand as well. About 5 or 6 cloves. Some curry powder. Some butter. Salt, pepper as needed. 4 carrots are going to be roll cut. Some bay leaves. Some red wine for reduction. Some Worcestershire. Some ham spray. So first, as per usual, I'm going to start with some veggie cuts. Actually, I'm going to get my little apple out of the way because this board isn't really savory right now. So I was making a fried rice earlier, but it wasn't keto, so I didn't show it in this recipe. This apple. Peeling it off for a second first. Actually, I don't feel like grating it. I'm going to dice it really small. Let me cut off some planks. Try and not get too much of the core here. I'm going to take those 4 wedges I cut and cut like thin planks of wood on them, like 2 or 3 layers. Once one way. I was going to shred this originally, but I did not feel like cleaning up the slicer at the end. So you're just going to make little matchsticks and then dice them up. I'm going to set that side back here for now. And then we're just gonna do roll cuts of these veggies. So what that means is you take your veggie and you just roll on down it. Just keep rotating it, cutting you some wedges. Now the zucchini will go in a little towards the middle of the process. And you're gonna get carrots about the same size. I'm gonna put that on a different side of the bowl. Forgot ingredient. You need some beef base as well. Now those carrots will go in around the same time you actually start stewing your beef. But the beef's going to get browned up first separately. Cut some of these fat carrot wedges in half. Gonna roll cut again, some more veggies. So Japanese beef stew is actually kind of a fusion Western dish. It was introduced to the Japanese, I think, by the British around mid to late 1800s during Japan's Meiji Restoration and their major push for modernization. So they could catch up with the Western powers. Anyways, so this was introduced to Japanese sailors. It was kind of just a hodgepodge. Just the Japanese had already had curry for quite some time from India, from the basically our Middle Ages. They've had it for quite some time with their trade. But in general, the curry is a lot milder than anything that the rest of Southeast Asia will produce. A little bit sweeter. So the dish was kind of just created like a normal beef stew, and then they added whatever flavors they had, which happened to be some curry base, and you got this delicious home-style stew that everyone loves today. So that will be set aside for now. I'm gonna get these out of the way so that I'm gonna get contaminated with some beef. Season up my flour mix here. Just gonna shake that around a little bit. You don't need to season it too heavily because the curry base typically tends to be pretty salty on its own. Grab a couple napkins I have laying around in my back table so I can pat this boy dry. Going to start cutting this into little stew dices. I'll probably delete this part because you don't need to watch me cut stew meat for 5 minutes. I'm gonna cut the chunks of fat. Butter going. Toss all that meat around. You're kind of looking for a thin coating like this, kind of like, almost like you'd want to toss this in the deep fryer, because you're just trying to get a quick sear off this beef. Again, caramelization is flavoring. And also, this isn't deep fried meat, this is a stew, but flour helps dry out the surface of whatever you're cooking as well. Oh, pause it. Flour dries out the surfaces of proteins or whatever you're cooking, so that will help get a better sear on whatever you're cooking as well. So, we're gonna move a second. Hopefully this won't be that fiasco. I had earlier. So go ahead and get all that beef in there. Spread it out as much as one layer as possible. See how close I can get you to see these goodies. Yeah, I rotated a little too soon. Now the idea is just to let this sizzle and then let it brown. So I'll get back with you in a second when some browning has occurred. Hello. So we're aiming for something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out of there. And the reason I'm holding it like this is my stand is still having difficulties. So I'm ready to get this pot going in the glaze for a second. And start on the rest of this meal. Alright, there's that. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of red wine to get the bottom of this pot cleaned off. And then I'm going to start tossing my veggies in there. Because I need to move this. Right now this is only sitting on one of the eyes. I need to move it on both so the heating is more even. So I'm going to pull out the view for a second. But next what I'm going to add, when the wine is cooked off nearly all the way, I'm going to add these onions and my carrots and get that going. The onions are really small dice because what I want is I kind of want these to kind of just dissolve into the sauce. Liquid's gone. Get these onions going. And these carrots as well. Season with a little bit of pepper and salt. And this is the point where I get to start introducing the curry powder. There is both regular curry powder and the curry base in this recipe. And you're looking for that, and I'm going to wait till these onions caramelize a little bit before I move forward. So I'll be back with y'all in a second. Alright. So So the next stage is to get the garlic I had in there. There you are. And so that was about 5 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to get all the ginger I can out of there. And it should be about 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my beef back in there. And go ahead and mix it all around. Then you're going to wait until you hear more of a sear start to form. So I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Yeah. So this is going off. Stuff's starting to brown a little bit. Maybe almost approaching burn. So what we're going to do, hold on, my apologies. We're going to start deglazing with some red wine and some Worcestershire. So I'm going to put a cup of red wine in here. And then I'll introduce my dabs of Worcestershire as well. I'm going to do about 3 tablespoons. Hold on. Put it back. Hello. So I'm back. So all the beef curry is there. Well, the beef, the carrots, the onions, the garlic, the ginger, the tomato paste, the curry powder. So this is about to get... Oh, and the red wine, of course. This is about to get a bunch of beef stock and come to a boil. A little bit more. And all the zucchini from earlier. No, come back here. And about 4 or 5 bay leaves. So that's all going to get stirred. And then this is going to come to a boil and a simmer, and we will be back in about an hour. for the last stages. Oh well. Alright, I'll be with you. Hey everyone. So I'm back here. The stew has been going for about 45 minutes to an hour now. The beef is starting to get tender. The squash is done. The carrots are tender now. The beef has a little bit left to go. So I have 3 steps left to do. I have some apple to add. I have the curry base to add. And I have a little bit of milk to add at the very end to balance it all out. So right now, I'm going to take all that apple from earlier. So this is going to go in now. That was about half of the apple, or like a cup and a half. And this is going to be allowed to soften up and kind of just blend in with the sauce. And that's going to go for about 15 to 20 more minutes, and ideally the beef will be fully tendered by that time as well. And then I could just finish out with the curry base and some milk. So I will be back in 15 minutes, or 15-20 minutes. All right, bye-bye. Hello. So we're about to add the curry base. You're just gonna chug it in there. Break it up in little pieces. It kind of looks like a chocolate bar, but it's very savory. You're going to mix it around until it's fully dissolved, and your stew will thicken up much significantly. As you can see right now. And it'll probably be a little salty, but that's why we're going to add a little bit of milk at the end to help balance all that out. Now it looks like a nice thick tomato stew. I'm just stirring it around until all of it is evenly incorporated. Just making sure you're stable. Taste for flavor. Pretty salty. Well, actually not horribly salty. This is some lactose-free milk for myself, reduced in sugar. That was about a cup right there. And I think we're good to go. So, this is Japanese beef curry with about a half cup of butter, a cup of flour, 2.5 pounds of beef, about 3 pounds of zucchini, a pound of carrot, 2 medium onions, 1 package of curry base, 6 cups of beef broth, 5 bay leaves, 6 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of ginger, 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste, about a cup of milk, a cup or and a half of diced apple, and I think that's about what I remember, and about a cup of flour and salt and pepper to taste, 2 tablespoons of curry powder, and a cup and a half of red wine, and 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire. And this is our final product. And I will be back with y'all another time.